Hi guys, and welcome to this video on the future of investment banking. This is one of the most spoken about questions which recent graduates tend to have on what is the future of investment banking, right? So I'm going to explain this, and this is going to be a very short video. So bear with me. Just a quick introduction. My name is Alan Arvindan, and I'm a CFA charter holder with about 11 years experience into fund management training and entrepreneurship. So let's get right to it. All right, so we're going to talk about all of this in parts. All right, so the first part is obviously going to be about looking at facts, right? What are the industry experts saying about what's going to happen to the value add that investment banking and specifically what equity research adds? So this is the Bloomberg survey, and you can clearly see that in totality the investment finance industry specifically sees one-to-one meetings which the brokerages are able to generate for the fund managers is valued the most, right? And let's go ahead and look at the second part of it, which is what is happening in equity research. All right, so the factual data says that the research headcount, of course, in one of the 12 biggest investment banks is actually reducing, right? And now why is it happening? So if you look at the data on the right hand side of this presentation, you will realize that about $16 billion is actually spent annually on equity research. Right now, equity research is basically the research report which the brokerage generates so that the fund managers are able to do better investment decision making, right? And now 40,000 of those reports get mailed every week. All right, and only 2.5% of those reports get utilized according to industry experts, right? And if you look at the next fact, 30% of asset managers are planning to slash budget for research, right? Remember this term, slash budget, right? They don't really want the research to go away, right? Now and initially these cuts are expected to be in Europe. These are just factual data which I'm presenting you from all the news resources and all the surveys which have been done, right? And I'm also going to explain you why and how this is actually good news for all the finance graduates in India, right? So stick right to it till the end of this video, and you will get to know exactly why I'm saying that. All right, so this is the second trend which I spoke about, which is happening in equity research headcount, and how these research actually add value or not add value. All right, now let's see what the analysts talk about, right? These are the analysts who are actually working in this industry, right? Now if you see, most of them say that the numbers of sell side analysts are going to reduce, right? So that's the second factual data that we looked at, right? So far it looks as if it's not really a good idea to make a career into equity research. Let's look at the third data point, right? And if you look at another survey which was done by Bloomberg on asking how much would firms actually pay for the research to do, right? And if you see 26 point, or the majority of them actually think either they're going to remain the same, so that means the research payments are not really going to increase, right? Or instead 26.4% people say that probably the research payments are going to reduce, right? But you see, the whole thing is that research nobody actually says the research is going to end. All right, so let's stick to it. This is the third point, which is pointing towards the fact that research is not getting valued as much as they used to probably some time back, right? Now added to this is the fourth data point, which talks about the regulation, right? So there's this regulation of MiFID 2, which is also the Market in Financial Instruments Directive. It's a regulation which came up in the European Union, which, if in simple 3 points, if I had to explain you, what basically they are saying is, first, unbundle, justify, and the consequences of that. So unbundle means today when the mutual fund industry, right, is taking research for brokerages, it gets added in the transaction cost, right? Now what unbundle means is that they will have to separately show research as an expense, right? Which brings us to the second point, which is saying that we need to justify the research. So every annual report of a mutual fund or any asset management company for that matter will have to justify how that research helped them in generating returns, right? And the third aspect, which is basically the effect of it, which says that probably because of this there would be a price war in a lot of boutique firms who would try to get this research services in a shorter value, or probably in a much cheaper mode, right? So the asset management companies can also go ahead and take the same research services probably from a smaller company, a boutique company, maybe in a place like India, right? So this is the fourth point that we looked at on why equity research can actually go down as a career. But hey, again, I said that probably this is a good news for people who are working in India. Let's come to that now and what this means for you. Okay, so this is the Indian perspective, because we're staying in India, talking about Indian students. So this has been happening since a lot of time, but India has been the place where labor is cheap, right? And that has happened in the IT industry and a lot of other industries, right? So this means that a lot of research activities, and this is, I'm not just saying that the research outsourcing is not happening till date, but I'm just saying this is going to increase even further. Because think about this, if you are a fund manager and if you wanted research and you wanted to cut down on research cost, even as a brokerage firm for that matter, the first option would obviously to outsource more to India, wherein you can actually hire analysts at probably 1/5 of the cost of what you might actually incur in places like US or Europe, right? This means that there are now more boutique firms who are providing the same research services to the brokerages or to the funds directly, right? And that would mean more employment in India, and this is actually happening. So if you actually go ahead and look out at the number of equity research jobs compared to, let's say, 2015 to, let's say, 2019, this is actually just increased, right? Because more and more of these research and the quality of research as well, which gets outsourced to India, is even increasing at a faster rate. Newer models have come up, so there are a lot of boutique firms, I would not say boutique firms, but let's say newer companies which have come up with very innovative ideas, wherein they would want to provide this research service as a software tool rather than as a PDF format which gets shared as research, which used to happen earlier. So they are creating softwares wherein, let's say, you've got about 100 analysts who have created their own research reports, right? And the conclusions or the important data points of those research reports get compiled into a software. So as a fund manager, if you are in the US, you could actually access the research on demand rather than just having to look at research report all the time or not actually reading the report. Now instead you're using the research report when you actually need it, right? So this means that the number of jobs in India are just going to increase. So if you are an Indian student and you are looking for a career in investment banking and finance and equity research for that matter, this might be even a better time to skill up, right? I've also shown you how many boutique size firms have increased, right? So if you see out here, this is the data we've taken it from Naukri.com, and if you see, research jobs are available in so many cities, right? Because they don't have really a constraint of where they can operate from, because any which ways you were providing service to the US clients, so you are already in a remote structure. So if you are able to find analysts in maybe a place like Indore, right, wherein probably the labor cost would even increase further, right? So this gives more profitability for these boutique size firms which provide equity research services, right? And the salaries are not less. Salaries in Indian standards are good. All right, now let's go to the next data point, which is talking about how there is a marginal effect of qualification in finding this job. right? So the upper line that you see out here is the salary trend of a similar job of a job role of a financial analyst in the BFSI sector, right? And compare it to a graduate working in the same sector. So what generally the students are doing wrong is they're pushing so much, they're spending so much money on an MBA, which is a substandard MBA, early in their job career without actually gaining experience. And the marginal effect of that is just about what, 50,000 to about 1 lakh. But in the longer run, it is much more useful if you actually gain that 5 or 4 years of experience and then do the MBA, which would create larger effect of actually gaining that qualification, rather than doing it at the beginning and just wasting that time, right? Because you're losing time as well as money. But what does create a larger effect in this industry is on skills, right? Now what we did is we actually checked out the skills trend in Naukri for financial analyst position, and we found some of these basis their ranks, right? So if you see, the highest on the rank is obviously Excel, right, which is ranked at 11, data analysis at rank 18, right? And all the other ranks, which were 1 or 2, are soft parts of skills which are common across any finance industry, right? So we have not counted that, but we have counted on the technical skills specifically related to financial analysis or equity research. So you will see forecasting, reporting, analysis, advanced Excel, business analysis, industry research, accounting, Excel, and data analysis. Now these are the skills which actually create a larger impact on your career. And if you actually bundle this all together, then what you mean to say is that you need to know financial modeling, right? People have discounted financial modeling as a skill too much, but they don't understand that your first level of interview which happens is based on the learnings which you get from financial modeling. So I would highly encourage people, even if you've done whatever qualification, doesn't really matter, but if you do not have the skills, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to even think about getting into equity research and these core finance profile. I'm not talking about back office profiles, I'm really talking about proper niche equity research core finance jobs, right? And this is one of the most commonly asked question on what is going to be the future of investment banking. And the second is what skills is required, right? So the qualification is fine, but you need to pay good attention to what you actually know and what value you can add from the day you come to the organization, right? It's unlike other fields where you're just expecting that you will be trained to do everything. In core finance, that's not how it works, right? Because the employer is more interested in what value and how much less time would be required for onboarding you into the main process of the company, right? So that's the skill ranking. And coming back to, if you want to learn financial modeling, then you've come to the right place. We run the financial modeling program, which is rated 4.7. You can check our Google reviews. And the best thing about the program, unlike most of the other institutes which run programs on financial modeling, is the fact that they try to teach you this in 50 hours. And it's absolutely impossible to teach someone the entire deep financial modeling in 50 hours. So we teach you for 200 hours. And there is 2 parts for the program. The first part of the program is obviously teaching you how to do financial modeling, and the second part about is to make you do multiple projects, multiple models covering multiple sectors, and giving you that perspective and experience, so that when you actually sit for the interview, you have lots to talk about, right? As opposed to just saying that you have the certification, which really is not going to add much value, because you will have to prove how much you know, and that's only going to come from practice, and that is what we do best, right? So 200 hours of learning, 28 assignments, 10 financial models, 12 months flexi pass, which means you can attend multiple batches. Even if you were not able to attend it at once, you can attend it multiple times, and lifetime access to the content, right? And if you are interested, then type mentor me in the comment box, which is mentioned out here, and the first 10 students get 50% off in our batch, which is going to start, right? So that's it for me. My name is Alan Arvind, and again I will leave you with this thought. Thank you for watching this video, and best of luck.